Wadworth Old Timer.
And remember, life is too short to be drinking shitty beer.
Welcome to another edition of Bands, Bikes and Booze Reviews. Got a really special one here today, and it was suggested by a subscriber, and it basically put me onto a deal that the Wadworth Brewery were doing, and it's a very good deal. You get, I think it's 12 bottles of beer for £32. That's including shipping, and among them was this. It's the Old Timer from Wadworth. Now this is a really special beer, and it's one of my favourite styles of beer. It is an old ale, winter warmer, barley wine, whatever you want to call it. The names are synonymous with the old ale style of beer. Now this one comes from a really good brewery. The Wadworth Brewery are famous for their 6X. Now again, that was another one that was suggested by subscribers. I had a real hard time getting hold of that one, but I managed to get it down here in an old-fashioned off licence in a place called Maidstone, which is in Kent, and I'm really glad I did, because it rapidly became one of my favourite beers of 2020. Certainly one of the best British beers I'd tasted of 2020. And as I say, the brewery are good. They do a lot of traditional styles. They're a traditional style brewer, and they're from Wiltshire, a place called Devizes, which is in Wiltshire, and they do some good stuff. And I've got some more of it in the fridge. It all came parcelled up, and I'm going to be reviewing them over the days. But I really wanted to try this first because, as I say, they're a good brewer. Old ale is one of my favourite styles, and this is a special one. It's only brewed on cask from December to January because it's a winter warmer, but it's available in bottle all year round. And it was originally brewed 50 years ago as a winter warmer for farmers, basically coming in after a hard day's work and getting some of this down their neck. Now, old ale is traditionally high ABV, or higher ABV, should I say. So it's one of them beers where it's very full-bodied, it's very malty, and you really, I don't know, unless you're a massive pisshead, you really only need one or two of them. It's so rich, it's so flavoursome, and that's the style of it. It's very, very flavour intense and rich. And as I say, it's been brewed for the last 50 years, and it's become very popular indeed, so much so that you can get it in bottle all year round. And I'm really looking forward to it. So just a little quick bit about the brewery. They've been based in Wiltshire, founded in 1875, and yeah, they've been brewing since then. They own 150 pubs, so they're pretty good at what they do. Oh, what a palaver. I've just had a delivery from Beers of Europe, and the box has broke, and one of the beers has smashed in it, and it was really annoying because it's the Hackashaw Superior Fest beer, and you know, one of the best beers. It had to be that. It couldn't be a fucking bottle of Corona or a bottle of fucking Foster's Ice. You know, it'd have actually done me a favour if that had smashed instead of that, but must grumble, can complain. Anyway, what's this beer all about? It's 5.8%. It is 500ml. It is an old ale, and there's lots of descriptions on here. So strong malty aroma and full-bodied. That's what I'd expect from an old ale. It says, the tasting notes, a deep chestnut colour with a strong malty aroma and full-bodied flavour. Yeah. Brewed in the winter for over 50 years. This strong dark bottle conditioned ale remains true to its original recipe, and its classic winter is a classic winter warmer. Yeah. The terms are interchangeable. Winter warmer, barley wine, old ale. They all come under the old ale, and usually they'll have old in the prefix, so you get Old Peculiar, Old Tom, Old Timer, and there's a whole host of other beers, old ales with old in in the name, in the front of it. Usually, a lot of American craft brewers who are doing old ale now, which is good. You don't see many British craft brewers doing it, which is a real shame. But you know, this is our heritage. This is where beer, modern beer, comes from. It all stems from this. But there you go. Not all beer. I should rephrase that. All British beer stems from this. The classic British beers, the pale ales, the IPAs, the bitters, etc. They all stem from old ale. But there you go. Let's get it open. Let's check this out. Now I have to say, I really am looking forward to this. Cap is silver, nothing to see there. Let's get it into the glass now. This is room temperature. That's really how old ale should be. Maybe a little bit cooler if you like, cellar temperature, that sort of type, but it certainly shouldn't be cold. You're going to miss out a load of flavours if you have that cold. Now, this is bottle conditioned. They usually say don't pour the sediment in. I haven't read on the bottle whether they say that or not, but I always pour it in anyway. There it is in the glass. Lovely deep chestnut colour, as they say. Foamy off-white head. Oh god, that smells lovely. That is just a host of caramel and toffee malt and fruit. Exactly what I'd be expecting from an old ale. But the aromas aren't massive. But again, as I've found out over the years when I've been drinking beer, massive aroma does usually equal massive flavour. But sometimes when you don't get big aromas, you still get big flavour, which is good. But there it is in ye olde glass. Let me see if I can get the last dregs of it in there. There you go. And that looks lovely. That looks like a typical British pint, and it looks fucking great. Let's get it down the hatch. Bottoms up. Oh, that's good. Oh, that is superb. Fuck, that is brilliant. Oh, that is so rich. God, that finish. Just a mass of fruit, little bit of spice, peppery spice. But the fruit is like real dark roasted fruit. Oh, this is brilliant. And it's quite complex as well. I've got to take another mouthful of this. This is superb. Oh, that is really good. Right, big toffee malt. A little touch of caramel, but it's more toffee. The fruity flavours on this are absolutely huge. I'm getting dark fruit like figs, dates, even cherry. If you can imagine black cherry, there is a little hint of that. Now, it's not like the cherry you get in the Old Peculiar. That's very pronounced. This is quite subtle, but it's definitely there. And the finish just lingers and lingers and lingers. And that finish is just a mixture of earth and dark fruit. And it's lovely. It really is. There is a fair bit of carbonation in this, and it's just the right amount, in my opinion. I can imagine on draft, or on cask, I should say, that would be a lot smoother, and it would just slip down really nicely indeed. But this is really good, and I wouldn't have expected anything else from Wadworth because they're another good brewer. Oh, it's really nice. Really nice. It's got a hint of the It's got a hint of the Old Peculiar in there. And for me, Old Peculiar is the benchmark for old ale. Don't get me wrong, there are some other good ones. Now, I tend to sort of categorise the higher ABVs as barley wine. I don't know whether I should be doing that, but that's how I distinguish them. The lower end, I say lower, comparatively lower end of the ABV scale, for example, the Old Peculiar, this stuff, that I tend to call what is true old ale. The higher ABV stuff like the Old Tom, the Tally Ho from Adnams, that type of thing, etc. That is what I call a barley wine. And Winter Warmer is just a mixture of the two. That's normally, I would call that like a seasonal old ale. And this is, technically, they call it a Winter Warmer as well, which is how I would categorise it as well. It's seasonal. That's only, well, on cask it's only available from December to January, but you can get it in the bottle all year round. So you could argue that it's technically not a seasonal beer. But either way, this is really good. I do like it. Oh, it's so good. That is really good. However, I have to say, and I'm not trying to endear myself to the Yorkshire clan, because that ship sailed fucking ages ago. I do prefer the Old Peculiar, but marginally so. And the reason I prefer the Old Peculiar is the cherry flavour, and the banana flavour on it as well is a little bit more pronounced. This is all about the malt. You could argue that it's technically more in the old ale tradition, you know, the original old ale tradition. But they're both good beers. I mean, fucking hell, this is just brilliant stuff. I'm so glad that I was put onto that, because I didn't know they did this. They don't advertise it as well on their website, on the Wadworth website. But I got this selection box and I just cannot wait to try them. If they're anything like this and the 6X, I am in for a treat. So what's the verdict on Wadworth Old Timer? Absolutely superb. And beers like this are my favourite style of British beer, old ale. For me, technically I would say it is. It's what I like about British beer. This is our heritage. This is where every British beer style came from. This was what they were serving up. Not this, obviously, this style of beer. And it's what spawned pale ale, it's what spawned IPAs, it's what spawned bitter, etc, etc. And this is our heritage. This is what we should be doing more of, and we don't. And it buggers the shit out of me. I shouldn't really say that, should I? Fucking hell. I'll just reverse out of that cul-de-sac. It annoys me that we're not concentrating on this. The Germans do it with their beers, the Belgians do it with their beers, and we don't. And it's a real shame. That is the tragedy of British beer heritage. But for me, I think that the Kraken's just turned up. That's why the dogs are barking. For me, this is 10 out of 10 all day long. However, with the caveat, this isn't as good as the Old Peculiar, but it's marginally not as good. That dog, honestly, the fucking dog barks at the people in his own family. You know, there's something about this house. I don't know what it is. Anyway, this is 10 out of 10. This is recommended. And as I always say, don't drink French beer, don't go to Brighton, and remember, beer is working class champagne.